A city is demolished by the Hulk and Wolverine is sent to retrieve the Hulk. Welcome back to our channel, guys. Today we will be recapping the Hulk vs Wolverine, spoiler alert. Watch out and take care. The movie begins on a lonely mountain. Wolverine narrate about himself, claiming he says he's the best at what he does. Unfortunately, what he does isn't good. He's on the cold mountain with injuries and could not recall the cause, so he questions himself. Suddenly, he sees Hulk jumping at him. In that moment he figures out what has happened, and it all started several hours ago. 4 hours ago, to be exact, Department H calls him to a location. As he travels on the plane, the officer asks him who he is, but he advises him that it is best if he does not know. They arrive at the location and they meet the head of Department H. He sees the cities in shambles. He asks the department head, who shows him the city's ruins of the small town and how devastating it was. He tells him a giant green creature has attacked the town and the creature is going towards the US-Canadian border. He says he thinks the force is involved in the calamity, and that's why they've called Wolverine. Wolverine goes nearer to one of the cars in the ruins. He sees a toy and envisions what occurred. He also catches the Hulk's toxic smells. The Department H heads orders him to find Hulk and kill Hulk before he destroys another city. He takes the plane alone with some of the force members and they see a mountainside. They figure the Hulk is around the mountainside and they ask if they should stop the plane. But he refuses and jumps down. He walks through the snow and goes to the water. He takes a quick sip and sees the footprints of a huge creature. He assumes the footprints belong to the Hulk and he follows them until he gets to a mountainside where he climbs the mountain. As he climbs the mountain, he sees the human version of the Hulk. He is unaware that it is the same person who destroyed the city. In addition, he sees Bruce crying. He goes nearer to a timid-looking Bruce and asks if he has seen a huge creature around. Bruce, who assumes Wolverine wants to attack him, walks towards the rock and begs Wolverine to leave him alone. Wolverine is absolutely clueless that he is the creature and goes nearer to Bruce to ask about the Hulk. Wolverine pins Bruce to the rock, and when he gets closer he smells the toxicity on him. Wolverine figures the person in front of him may not be a good person, so he brings out his claws and pins him to the rock and promises him death with the third and middle claw if Bruce doesn't come clean and state who he is. Bruce, who dislikes getting angry, eventually gets angry. He screams and changes from his human form, then tosses Wolverine like a salad. Wolverine stands up in an attempt to fight back, but Hulk is more powerful. Hulk pushes him to the falls. They fight submerged, but Hulk hits him out of the water and the fight continues. However, Hulk knocks Wolverine down but keeps hitting him and repeating that he's the strongest person on Earth and no one is as strong as him. Hulk walks away thinking he has defeated Wolverine. But Wolverine stands up and calls his attention back. Wolverine asks that they fight again, but suddenly they hear gunshots. Some superpower holders shoot the both of them, and the person that fired was Wilson. He calls Wolverine by his real name, Logan. While incapacitated, Wolverine remembers his past. He walks out of a bar drunk, and as he takes the last sip from his bottle, he sees an older man, the professor, looking at him. He asks the man why he is looking at him, but the man hits him. He calls for backup and they carry him away. Logan wakes up in an experimental cage. The professor asks his worker to switch on the adamantium on Logan, and this leads to the development of his ability. The professor is creating a team of fighters which he calls warriors. Before Logan's process, one of the warriors named Sabretooth warns the professor about turning Logan into one of them and says it may not go as well as he thinks. As Logan's process continues, he changes form. He breaks out of the cage and kills all the security without breaking a sweat. He breaks through the barriers and gets to the professor, and he cuts his hands before jumping out of the building after killing some guards. As he wakes, he finds himself tied. The professor tells him they have been looking for the Hulk for a long time, and thanks to Department H, he was able to help them find him. He says the last city was a casualty that happened during one of their chases, and if Department H had sent Wolverine, the people wouldn't have died. He asked the professor what he wants to do with Hulk, and the professor tells him he wants to turn him into a weapon, just like he wants to make Wolverine a weapon. If you are enjoying this recap, remember to subscribe to get notified whenever there is a new upload. He tells him he will erase the memory of both Hulk and Wolverine and they will work for him. Wolverine asks him to kill him now that he has the opportunity, because if he gets out he will kill all of them. As the professor leaves, Wilson approaches a blinded Wolverine and tells him that Deathstrike has attempted to kill him earlier and Deathstrike hates him especially. Wilson asks if he still has the iron head and hits him with a gun. Wolverine blacks out and wakes up in the experimental cage. He sees Deathstrike in front of him and she tells him she will kill him whether the professor likes it or not. The professor arrives with Sabretooth and asks Deathstrike what she's doing there, then asks her to leave. He informs her he's about to erase Wolverine's memory, but Deathstrike attacks him and kills him. Deathstrike breaks Wolverine's cage and she and Sabretooth prepare to kill Wolverine. Deathstrike attacks Wolverine. Sabretooth tells her not to kill him, but she releases her claws and stabs him. He regains his strength and fights back. He hits Deathstrike until she falls. He goes right after her and detaches her android hands since she's weak. He leaves the room and finds his way to where Hulk is locked. He sees Bruce in the cage and breaks him out. As Bruce comes out, he tells him to please save him. He says Hulk must not get into the hands of evildoers and begs Wolverine to help him out. Wolverine walks out with him, but on the way he tells him he doesn't care about his story. On the other hand, Sabretooth and Deathstrike call the other warriors. They see the professor on the ground and Sabretooth lies that it was Wolverine who killed the professor. He says the professor has commanded them to kill Wolverine and the others accept, unknown to them, that it's a trap. One of the warriors, Omega, who uses an electric whip, finds Wolverine and Bruce as they are about to escape. He jumps at Wolverine, but Wolverine protects Bruce. Eventually Wolverine subdues Omega for a while and sets out to run away with Bruce. He tells Bruce that the other enemies are coming and he asks Bruce to bring Hulk out, but Bruce tells him he can't bring Hulk out. Bruce explained to him that he doesn't control Hulk and he can't direct Hulk, as Hulk only comes out whenever he's angry and the drugs the professor has given him is stopping him from anger. To force Hulk out, Wolverine stabs Bruce and leaves him there. Wolverine goes to fight their enemies. He starts with Sabretooth and hits him before moving to Deathstrike. However, when he loses control, Omega carries him with his electric web and prepares to electrocute him. Luckily Hulk wakes, and he hits Sabretooth out of the building and pushes Deathstrike away. Then Wilson and Omega attempts to attack him. Omega uses his second whip on Hulk, allowing Wolverine to escape from the first whip. Eventually Hulk defeats the enemies and then sets out to attack Wolverine, who reminds him that they are on the same side. Hulk doesn't reply, he keeps chasing Wolverine. Then Wilson comes from behind to throw an explosive into Hulk's mouth, hoping he will die. Wolverine tells Wilson that he has only succeeded in making Hulk more angry. The bomb explodes, but Hulk survives. As Hulk attempts to attack Wolverine again, Wolverine throws Wilson at him. While Hulk fights Wilson, Wolverine escapes, but Omega climbs into the building to attack him. Deathstrike also returns to fight Hulk. She scratches Hulk's body, and that gets him irritated. She keeps jumping over him and cutting him until he eventually gets hold of her and rips her hands off. He goes to find Omega, who's fighting Wolverine, and hits Omega to the wall. He prepares to destroy the laboratory and eventually does. But before it explodes, Wolverine jumps out. After the building explodes, Hulk comes out and jumps to fight Wolverine again. Thank you for watching, guys. Please remember to subscribe to this channel for more animated recaps.